Welcome back, Mastercraft Gaming fans. Kyle here to bring you a preview on the Uncharted Empires. This is the Brotherhood and the two split factions it's ended up in, the Order of the Brothermark and the Order of the Green Lady. Let's get started with the Order of the Brothermark. Now, this first faction is one that got absorbed into the master list of forces of Abyssal. Now, the ones that were left over essentially are really ticked off about what happened from the Abyss and the Flood and everything. They're losing their lands, and this faction in particular, in my opinion, is a really good monster hunting force. So they're the perfect counter to that monster mash kind of build, and their units really reflect that. One thing that I want to point out is that out of the entire build, master list included, there's only one irregular unit. So they've got the ability to pick up a lot of toys, heroes, war engines, etc., and use them to great effect. Let's get started with the Valandor bowmen. Now, these guys in particular, I really like them. Yes, it's ranged attacks, and ranged attacks are nerfed, etc. But look at the points on these guys. In the regiment profile for 10 attacks, you're getting one heck of a deal. A lot of people, especially elf players, have been mentioning that they really like the regiment profiles on ranged units like this. And in my opinion, this is a really good source of unit strength that can throw out shots and be really annoying and provide unlocks while you're doing it. So, great option to put and use on one of the many different new scenarios that allow you to use bluff tokens and different things like that. Really good tactical play that you could use with these guys. And it's not just about the pure offensive thing that they can do, but the flexibility that the unit grants you. Next, we'll look at the Valandor skirmishers, and these guys are quick. So any kind of unit with speed 9 and nimble obviously is going to give you quite a bit of board control on what you can do with them. Essentially, your charge ranges and the amount of board control and threat range that you can project with them is quite noticeable. I think these are perfect, especially as their name suggests, as skirmishers for an anti-chaff role. They're going to pair very well with Paladin Knights from the Valandor Master List. I think this is a really good option if you're trying to either use them in a regiment profile, perhaps for a board control. That Thunderous Charge is nothing to scoff at, especially again, if you take advantage of hills and things like that, late game being able to go capture objectives and things if your opponent ignores them. Lots of good ways that you can use them, good height on them for being a cavalry unit, and then obviously that low nerve means that if you need them to get out of the way because you need them to die so that your other bigger hitters can get in there, they are going to go away fairly easily. So really nice option for them, good cav chaff option. I think that army lists like this really like to take advantage of those kind of units. So I mentioned that the Brothermark are monster hunters extraordinaire, and the unit that really exemplifies that is the Order of the Abyssal Hunt. This is a cavalry unit that saw some pretty noticeable changes from 2nd edition. These guys now have defense 5, where before they had defense 4. They did take a little bit of a nerve drop, where I think this is kind of an okay trade because they also gained Iron Resolve. Since they still have Fury, that's not too bad of an exchange. In my opinion, if you get those lower wounds, you're going to heal that 1 point of nerve back that you would have lost anyway, so it's pretty decent. You've also got the ability to purchase the Aegis Fragment, which allows you to get Iron Resolve 2 for 1 turn, which is kind of nice. So this is a unit that gets vicious against monsters, titans, that kind of thing, and it really kind of exemplifies how you're supposed to use these guys. They've also got the ability with the Gauntlet, which I didn't go over. It allows them to purchase a duelist upgrade on a unit like this, which is kind of interesting. So could be really devastating to a hero depending on how you use them. In my opinion, these guys are really going to be good for the monster mash kind of builds because they've essentially been designed to work that way. When you've got Fury and Crushing Strength 1 and then Iron Resolve, it's kind of telling you if they go against a monster and they don't break it in 1 hit, they're going to be able to stick around for that 1 extra turn in order to be able to finish it off. And I really like that, how it's sort of designed to fill the fluff role and with what the unit does as far as the rules go. Next, we'll look at the Valandor Siege Artillery. Now, this one is one of the better war engine profiles that we've seen because it's got that D3+1 on the blast. The only other one that I can recall is the Abyssal Dwarf Heavy Grog Mortar. That one is pretty devastating, and I think Abyssal Dwarf players have seen already where if you take a heavy war engine army, Thomas, you have the ability to do quite a bit of damage at that range. And then because I mentioned that this army has quite a bit of cheap unlocks and many unlocks, everything is able to unlock except for 1 unit, you can really pair this very well with the Heavy Arbalist from the Valandor Master List and get some pretty nasty war engine support. So if you think about the ability to throw out the speed with the cavalry, the Order of the Abyssal Hunt, that kind of thing, and then have the long-range fire support from way back, that's a really nice complement because things that are far away can still snipe out the monsters. As we said, Monster Hunters Extraordinaire. This ignores cover with indirect, so it's a pretty good pairing, in my opinion, with what the army does. So it's a good synergistic option, and it's one of the heaviest hitting war engines out there. Last but not least, let's look at the Exemplar Hunter. Again, finishing off that exclamation point that this army is great at monster hunting, you've got this guy. If you guys liked the Mikhail from the Twilight Kin, he is a little bit of a cheaper option that does a very similar thing. So he's got the ability with his Dragon Hunter to essentially go down and double his attacks against monsters and titans. And when you've got a profile that hits on 3s with elite and crushing strength 2, at 4 going to 8 is actually something that's very respectable. He's also just a hero. So again, with the unlocks, you've got the ability to purchase multiples of these, and you put him on a horse, and I think all of a sudden he can really actually go hunt some stuff down. So Monster Mash beware if you've got the Planar Apparitions and Night Stalkers and just trying to build that thing up, or Empire of Dust and throwing out all the fun things that are well known for there. This is a really nice counter list to those kinds of builds, in my opinion. So got to be careful because they can shut that down very easily, and this is a hero that you can take in multiples that does it really well. All right, now let's look at the Order of the Green Lady. And the first thing we'll take a look at is their special army upgrade, and that is the Vial of Sacred Water. This thing does 2 very specific things that are very helpful. So the first is that it gets you the ability to heal D3 points of damage. Nice, you know, it's kind of like a little healing brew that you can pop off when you're ready. And then the second is that it grants it the Sacred Water keyword, and for a little bit of synergy and some things that you can do later in the list, that's pretty important. So it's available in a lot of different options in the army, and the ability to heal is a very key thing in this entire list. So the first unit from the theme list that we'll take a look at is the Order of the Brotherhood on foot. Now, these guys at first glance don't look all that special to you, but this army is a hammer and anvil style to the extreme. The nature options that are available to it are essentially nothing but hammers and anvils. Now, nature has the ability to give you some ensnarers and earth elementals, yes, but these guys are a pretty stout option, having that 15-17 nerve on defense 5 and at a really nice point level. In my opinion, that kind of a footprint that you can put down onto a unit makes these guys really hard to shift, really annoying, and you can sort of use them in multiple different places at that amount of points. So you're not paying that 200 point plus price tag for something like Earth Elementals or Naiad Ensnarers that have larger footprints and come with their higher price tags. So this is a really good sort of cheaper anvil option for the rest of the hammers that are in this theme list that I'll go over next. But I think it's a really solid option for that. And if you want to use them that way, still great unit strength that you're putting out there and has a really key role for this style of build. So here's the real staple of the list. This is the Order of the Brotherhood. Now, these guys come in a regiment and a horde option for cavalry, and they hit like a truck as usual. So Thunderous Charge 2 on them is really nice. The best thing about them, though, in my very personal opinion, is this upgrade that you can take, which is the Banner of the Green Lady. And for 15 or 20 points, you can give these guys Pathfinder, which frees up your ability to purchase another unit, for example, that you can give Pathfinder to, or another unit that you can purchase the boots on and give Strider to, which is really the big issue with a cavalry unit that relies only on Thunderous Charge. So getting the charge off is very important, and here are multiple ways that you can do this with this unit, built right in with one option, and then you can kind of go from there. So really nice option for a strong cavalry unit. It's not a regular, so you can kind of flood the table with them and really get a feel for how the Brotherhood like to get into battle. Now we're going to get into the more specialized units in the list, and that's the Order of Redemption. Now, they're pretty similar at first glance to the Order of the Brotherhood, but they do come with some pretty insane bonuses that allow them to really help your synergy in battle groups. So they come with regeneration, first of all, which is fantastic, because on a unit and in an army that has a ton of heals, these guys aren't going to want to go anywhere. They've got Headstrong, and they've got the ability to inspire the units around them. Yes, they're irregular, but this is a really good anchor for your battle groups because you can throw these guys out there with various heroes and don't have to worry about inspiring. Even in a troop profile, that's got a value of its own. And if you take them in a regiment, they're going to be really hard to shift. If you don't pop them in one go, they're not going away. There's so much healing available in this army between the unicorns, the Green Lady herself, the druids, and then the other options in this list that I'll go over shortly. But they're just not going to go away. It's going to be a super annoying unit to take care of, and when it offers inspiring and has an offensive profile, it's a really key part of your list. Now we've got the Order of the Forsaken, and this is a flying large cavalry unit that really is able to take advantage of its height of 4 and a lot of the smaller terrain features. So obviously fly, it's going to ignore things like fences as it moves across the battlefield, so that's a big advantage right there. And then you could essentially put these guys behind a hill so that you have cover and they can still see over it. I think that these pair very nicely with the Beast of Nature, because if you consider that the Beast of Nature can fly around, and if you give it nimble, then all of a sudden it's got the ability to threaten from 2 different angles, where these guys don't have nimble, but they do have fly. You can get them both into a similar position and then really give your opponent a hard choice on what they want to target. If you leave a Beast of Nature alone in the backfield, that's nasty, and then you got these guys in the front, who do they want to face and deal with? I think this is a really great speed element that you can pair with the nature things in there that make it very nice. You want to fly the Green Lady behind them and get her to constantly be Radiance of Life and throwing that stuff out there. You guys can kind of see the synergy here. It's really nasty. I like it a lot. Last, I'm going to show the Devoted. I kind of wanted to show the Exemplar Redeemer because he's more of a beat stick, but I've shown a lot of beat sticks in this army already, so the Devoted sort of is a great support role. And this is your Swiss Army knife sort of caster, and you'll notice it doesn't come with Inspiring like a lot of casters do. It's a lower point level, so it allows you to sort of pick and choose what you want the unit to do. I really do like the upgrade that gives the Radiance of Life to any of the units that have the Sacred Water keyword. Yes, you can only take that once, but when you consider the fact that you have a unit in the army that inspires on its own, you don't really have to worry about inspiring as a pickup on this hero. So that makes things really nice because all of a sudden you can throw out some extra heals. Things like the Unicorn are a great pairing as well. I mean, man, they just have some great options for heals in this army. And if you want to, you know, mess with your opponent, get some Icy Breath out there and take some speed away, kind of like the Northern Alliance can do, you've got that option. You've got the ability to purchase Surge, so if you want to get your Water Elementals or your Earth Elementals off and into some pretty nasty places with flanks and that kind of thing, with the regular Surge shenanigans that you can do, defense against flyers, here's the character that can do it all. So like them quite a bit at that point level and what they can do. Really nice army and its ability to do all kinds of fun things. So Brotherhood players should be happy with both of these factions because you've got the ability to kind of pick and choose the way that you'd want to go. If you want to go to traditional sort of men against monsters, then the Brothermark is the perfect option for you. The Basileans that they have really sort of complement them quite a bit. The Ogre Palace Guard, the Paladin Knights, all that kind of things paired with the Villains are going to be a really good option. And then obviously in the Brotherhood, Brother Nature.
And Mother Nature's brother, Brother Nature. But you can call me Andy, or Brother Nature. Your call.
Thank you, Andy.
Brother Nature.
They are a really nice option, so I think a lot of people are going to like both of these, and if you're a Basilean player or a nature player, all of a sudden you've got the ability to jump onto these theme lists as well and make some really creative and cool lists too. So as far as nature's concerned, I think that if you're looking for some hammers, here's a really good option you can pick up. If you don't like what's available on the nature list to pair with all those anvils and heals, this is really sort of the answer to that. And if you're a Basilean player, you've got a lot of cheap options that you can throw out there, some great artillery that's available, and even more with the monster hunting capabilities. So like both lists quite a bit, and that is it for them. We've only got one more week left, so I apologize to the 4 army factions that are going to have to be last, but that'll be the Ratkin Slaves, the Varangur, and the Herd. So once you guys are wrapped up, that is it. We're going to be then, at that point, days away from the book release, and everybody should see everything in the book anyway, so they'll be nice and happy. So we'll catch you on Tuesday next week. Thanks, guys.